One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart, steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels, ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar. Insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. Metal and mayhem will never die. Whistles report he pays his way. Oh, legend in the making, day by day.
Well, shit. What's good with everyone, man? Good morning, good afternoon, good wherever the hell you guys are, man. Much love, honor, respect to all of you legends up in the building. Big round of applause over to you guys in the Breakfast Club, man. Hell yeah, yeah. We got a big one going on this morning, guys. As we expected, there was going to be some more news today because we reported yesterday, even on my day off. There was breaking news going on in Syria and Assad getting totally the boot, you know what I mean? Definitely left Syria and is now in Russia. So I knew this was going to cause some crazy ass shit, and I expected it, and sure as shit, here we are, you know what I mean? But before we get into it, man, please make sure you guys hit that like button. So number one metric of all of YouTube, helps out the show immensely, and it's free. What else is free? Hitting that subscribe button is also free, man. If you guys are new, hit that button, man. Also, please consider becoming a member, a channel member, starting at $2.99 a month. Join the Breakfast Club and hang out with us every single Saturday morning, 10 a.m. CST, where we do all of the members-only live streams over there, and we get a little brutal over there. Also, make sure you guys hit up my Instagram at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my lifestyle, but of the show itself, as well as Millennial Food Time. We get down with our bad selves over there. Last but not least, make sure you guys listen. Every single one of the super chats, super stickers, channel memberships, gifted channel members, all of that is shouted out. But if you guys would like to help out the show monetarily and skip that brutal 30% YouTube cut, we have these scrolling for the remainder of the show. And of course, they will all be shouted out. All right. That is the end of that. So on this ordeal, Israeli defense strikes chemical weapons plant in Syria, and it is breaking as we speak. So we're going to be discussing that as we go along. Oh, shit. Straight Jacket, I told you, stay away from all that. Stick to the liquor. Let the liquor do the talking, okay? Straight Jacket, you're not good with that kind of drink. Good morning, Barbie. Good morning to you up there in Canada. Always good to see you, as well as Evil, Hank, Brother S&S. Hit that like button, yo. That's right. That's right, my man. I always appreciate it. America Uncensored. What's up? What's up, man? We got Tiffany and Brother Lee Lance. It's always a legendary hanging out with you guys. Steve says, morning, Mike Ball and Breakfast Club. Hope you all is well with you. Absolutely, man. I hope it's all well for you as well. We're doing good over here, man. I went to bed at like 5:30 in the morning. Like I was having a one-man party last night. So, you know, we get down with our bad selves once in a while, and usually it is on a Sunday. But hey, any day is day drinking day when you claim it to be. You know what I mean? Oh shit! Oh yeah, yeah. I got down with my bad selves. What's up, Gary? Good morning, kind sir. Always good to see you. Everyone was yelling. Yeah, that sounds like not fun for you, Tiffany. All right, let's go ahead and get into this. This shit is crazy. What's up, Hardwire? Good to see you as well, man. I'm just quickly going down the list. It's hard for me to even keep up with the fucking chat now. Mike, you know I make bad decisions in my life. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I get it.
Stupid.
I get it. Go ahead and make yourself sick, dude. It feels terrible, doesn't it? Meanwhile, I got smashed last night, went to bed at 5:30, woke up at 8:30, showered, ready for the show, and zero fucking hangover. 3 hours of sleep, zero hangover, dude. Just sucks being you. It sucks to suck, man. All right, let's go ahead and get into this, man. It's always fun hanging out with you guys. All right, boom. All right, so this is just an hour ago off of Live Now from Fox. Of course, we're going to go in depth of the actual news cycle once this is finished. This is a pretty fairly short little clip, I guess. It's like 12 minutes long compared to what we've been reviewing. It's been a lot. But nonetheless, we're going to go into, after this, we'll go into the news cycle regarding the IDF and regarding Netanyahu and what the government is actively saying right now about Syria. We're going to go into, you guys know that, they love those press conferences over there. And Steve says it's good to be under 40. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Getting old ain't for pussies. But hey, guess what? Straight Jacket's around my age, so he's got no fucking excuse. You know what I mean? Just saying. No excuse. What's up, Carney? Good morning, kind sir. Always good to see you, man. All right, let's go ahead and get into this fucking craziness.
We are following breaking news as it relates to Middle East conflict. Take a look. You can see Israel Defense Forces very busy this Monday morning. They put this out on X a few hours ago. They say a UAV, that's a unmanned aerial vehicle. That's what that stands for. They say that was likely launched from Yemen, hit a home in the area. They go on to say, as of now, no injuries were reported. No sirens were sounded. The incident is under review, end quote. All of this happening while the Associated Press is reporting this Monday that Israel's foreign minister says it struck suspected chemical weapons sites and long-range rockets in Syria in order to prevent them from falling into the hands of hostile actors. A lot to dissect this morning. We want to bring in Independent Women's Forum senior fellow, Dr. Kanta Ahmed, into the conversation. Dr. Kanta,
are we that man? What's up, my man? Good morning to you, Kanta.
Pleasure to have you on the show. Good morning.
Pleasure. Good morning.
So I know you've had...
This is the first time I'm actually having a woman reporter regarding Israel and let's just say the war front over there. Usually it's a guy speaking, but hey, let's see if she does any justice here.
Had a very busy few weeks. I know you literally just got back from the Middle East right before this interview. Talk about your trip. You were in Lebanon, correct?
No, I was in Israel. I was looking at the front between Israel and Hezbollah in the very northernmost region. And it is astonishing to see the proximity of the Hezbollah infrastructure. I was standing in Israel, 300 meters away from the Hezbollah front, which, by the way, was constructed in full view of United Nations interim forces. So looking at the intimacy with which the belligerence of Hezbollah is encroaching on Israel, and of course...
It's definitely the glasses, by the way, that does it too.
Kept Israel under fire for more than a year with tens of thousands of missiles. You start to see how complicated these relationships really are and how close all of these borders and all of these enemies are to the sovereign Jewish state. 6 weeks ago, I was also on the border of Israel and Syria at a special place known as Quneitra, which is a lookout point. And it was very clear to me at that time that the contracting footprint of Iran, which has really been decimated, seeing the destruction of its proxies, Hezbollah and Hamas, achieved by Israel, was leaving a vacuum. The time that I was there 6 weeks ago on the border of Israel and Syria, one could still see and know that Russian patrol troops were very nearby, just behind the hill from the lookout point where I was. Now we see a Syria that apparently has fallen to a rebel leader who's being rebranded as some kind of leader for the nation, though he was previously a member of Jamaat al-Nusra, which was previously an offshoot of al-Qaeda, and in my opinion is just as much of a radical Islamist as any of the groups in this region.
My camera now. Fuck. Every time it does that
Thank you so
shit.
much for
All right, one
that
sec.
detailed analysis there, Dr. Conta. So a lot to dissect because I told you when we were in break, it seems like every time we speak, a new conflict has come about. I know when we were further at first looking at the very latest in Yemen, we were looking at the Houthi rebels. A lot of questions this morning about that organization and how that relates or does not relate to the Assad regime. Could you provide that perspective, please?
So, Janae, I think the most important thing you've said is that each time we've met, this conflict is expanding and radiating outwards.
Fixed.
It was triggered by October 7th, Hamas.
Yes, it was. That was part of it. What's up, Martin? Good morning, kind sir. Hopefully you're having a good one, as well as brother VT up in the building. Always good to see you, man.
Assault on Israel that led to a war, a defensive war of Israel against Hamas. And then that spiraled outwards because Hezbollah got involved, and that led to a front in Lebanon. Now we're seeing a front in Syria. Mentioning the Houthis, these are a Shia offshoot, a Zaidi Shia offshoot. They are very strongly aligned in allegiance with Iran. They've been financed by Iran. They control critical areas in the south of Yemen that strangle and bottleneck the Red Sea. And so the entire Red Sea has been at the mercy of their actions. And as you can see, they have drone capabilities. The international community was fine to cope with piracy in the Red Sea and join and make a coalition and fight piracy, but they've been absolutely inept at trying to control and push back these terrorists. They're a designated terrorist group from disrupting the Red Sea. The first order of business for President Trump when he comes into inauguration is to first reopen the Red Sea. It's the world's most...
Hey, man, I feel that. I get those once in a while too, man. Just got to push through, right? Hopefully we can make it a little bit better for you today. You know, here in the Breakfast Club, we get to hang out and have a good ass time, you know?
Vital arterial maritime corridor. So that has to be more than just posturing with our warships. That group has to be defanged. Number one, financing from Iran has to stop, but actually bombing their installations and removing them from the arena so that they can not...
Well, yeah, Iran funds all the fucking terror.
...disrupt the rest of the region. I'm not aware of links between the Houthis and Syria, but I'm not deeply expert on that, so I could be mistaken. The situation in Syria leaves everybody in the region on edge, including Iraq, which is, of course...
Hank, you got that from Just White in the chat.
Governed by a federal Iraq in Baghdad, but has been proxified by Iran for decades in the vacuum the United States led. So there is a very powerful Iranian militia army that controls every checkpoint in federal Iraq. Only the northern Kurdish Iraqi region is autonomous. And Turkey absolutely anticipated this. Many of the Western commentators are shocked at the developments in Syria, but it was very obvious 6 weeks ago. Turkey was already calculating the vacuum left by a retreating Iranian footprint, and they wanted to secure that northeast corridor. That's where they will confront Kurds that control...
That's right. For the majority of things are temporary.
...the Kurdish area of Syria, but also the northeast corridor is the breadbasket of Syria. It's also where the oil assets are. It's very strategic. And Turkey is planning to relocate the 3.5 million refugees it took from Syria back there. Many people are wanting to go back to their own country and already crossing the border in there. It's yet to be seen. And my fear is as Libya collapsed, as Saddam Hussein collapsed, are we going to get into another insoluble sectarian war, which will attract foreign fighters? And that's my fear. And that's why you see Israel is moving to secure its defensive positions in exactly those arenas in the Golan Heights that I was visiting. And Assad had astonishing chemical warfare. Let's not forget, he is the monster of our age. Barrel bombing his civilians, chemical warfare on his
civilians. Yeah, there's no joke. Assad is a piece of shit. Absolutely.
There are countless tens of thousands of Syrians in underground prisons. His record on torture, including torturing people when they were alive, organ harvesting people when they were alive, is well documented. So we just don't know how this is going to unfold.
What's up, KP? Good to
A
see
lot
you,
of unanswered
Nordic.
questions this Monday morning, Dr. Kansa. And one thing that you said that stood out for many of the viewers is about the fear and the people fleeing. I found this shot that I routed in so we could both look at this together and dissect it. You literally see droves of people standing there at that security clearance and at that border crossing. The question is, where can you flee when there's so much conflict there in the Middle East? If we look back at the conflict with Hezbollah that we spoke on at the onset of this interview, we do know that Israeli Defense Forces told many people to evacuate before they began their ground incursions. But the question is there even a safe place? As we know, the conflict out in Gaza continues, the conflict with Lebanon, and then now we are seeing with Syria.
So let's be
It's actually, it's actually, I think she's about to correct it. I can tell by the tone of her voice. The conflict is not with Lebanon themselves. It's actually Hezbollah. Now, they're just using Lebanon as a proxy. It's really an Iranian ran funded Hezbollah, meaning. So the ceasefire is actually with the Lebanese government. It's actually not with Hezbollah. So you guys see that shit goes down actively during a ceasefire, and the ceasefire is still intact because it's not with Hezbollah. It's with Lebanon themselves.
Very precise on this. The conflict with Hezbollah, Israel is with Hezbollah. It's not with the Lebanese people.
I knew she was going to fucking say that. Man, I'm on top of my shit. Damn it, dude.
It's very different. The Lebanese people, even though they were deeply distressed, some civilian lives have been lost, they were free to escape into the rest of their nation. They were not in a closed enclave. In Syria, it's not clear where, if further conflict is going to be. This self-appointed leader, al-Julani, now calling himself President Ahmed of Syria, is stating that it'll be a peaceful transfer, but we don't know. And also, the collapse of Syria is even more devastating for Lebanon, because Lebanon, which already had a very fragile economy, corrupted by the black market, by terror financing, by financing with the drug industry that would come from
I don't think so yet, Bob. I have not heard that claim.
Syria. That has almost nothing to hold on to now. And Syria is now in this state of flux. So it's quite likely that we're going to see population influxes. Getting back to Israel, there are still 143,000 Israelis internally displaced in Israel. When I stood with the commander at Mizgav Am, a location right on the Lebanese border, I can see that the Shiite villages that were full of Hezbollah infrastructure absolutely surround the tiny Israeli valley. So any chance Hezbollah can regroup and conflict can begin again.
Yes.
And while there has been tremendous effort to decimate Hamas leadership, Hezbollah leadership, the infrastructures on both places, and that's really been achieved, I would not count Iran out. Iran is an extraordinarily resilient nation.
I don't know why anyone counts out Iran.
Rather, the Iranian regime. They were decimated in a 10-year war with Iraq.
Shout out to you.
Known as Gulf War I. And they had over 1 million lives lost. And they came back to create this international proxy arena, which has disrupted the wider Middle East. So
True.
Nothing is certain at the moment. I think Israel is taking very sensible defensive measures in its northern borders to protect against any fallout. I do think there are going to be many Syrians that are living in Turkey that are going to be thrilled to get back into Syrian territory. What they find there and how they will be governed is yet to see. And many, and in fact, the first instinct I had is this very much reminds me of the fall of Kabul and how the Taliban achieved a domination over the country in a few days. And all kinds of nice speeches were made about how it would be a new Afghanistan and women and girls would not be persecuted and minorities would not be persecuted. And we are here today with over 40 million Afghans captive to one of the most brutal regimes in the world. So I am holding a judgment and very skeptical at the moment.
All bright colors all super bright colors, bright lipstick, fucking bright ass fucking glasses. Jesus Christ. Yeah, you definitely screaming like you want some attention, lady. Yeah, but hey, she was actually pretty on it on that report. I gotta admit, she was actually pretty decent on that. All right, let's go ahead and move on over into the live news feed right now. We're bringing it back. We're of course going to catch up with the live feed as we go because we're going to skip through a lot of bullshit. We're keeping it to the subject matter, at least the Middle East. So let's go ahead and start off from here.
Good morning, and thank you so much for waking up with us here on Live Now from Fox. I'm Jeanne Francine here with you on this Monday morning. It is December 9th. We are a few minutes shy from the top of the 6 o'clock
Dirty?
hour here on the East Coast. And as we come on the air, we are following breaking news as it relates to Middle East conflict. Take a good look at your screen. The Associated Press reporting early this Monday morning that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is set to take the witness stand Tuesday for the first time in his trial on corruption allegations. It's a pivotal point in the drawn-out proceedings that come as the leader wages war in Gaza and faces an international arrest warrant for war crime charges. At home, Netanyahu is on trial for accusations of fraud, breach of trust, and accepting bribes in 3 separate affairs. Netanyahu denying wrongdoing, but his appearance on the witness stand will be a low point in his decades-long political career, standing in contrast to the image of a sophisticated, respected leader.
I did see that, by the way, Brother Steve. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. You're not just funding these motherfuckers. The government is taking their own peoples in Canada, taking their own people's firearms to send over to Ukraine. Talk about getting jacked, motherfucker. You got jacked. Shit. What are you going to do against that? Can't do shit, can you? Don't have a Second Amendment. Yikes.
Tried to cultivate. The Associated Press goes on to say that the trial will take up a chunk of Netanyahu's time at a crucial point for Israel. While he makes his case for weeks from the stand, he will still be tasked with managing the war in Gaza, maintaining a fragile ceasefire with the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah, and keeping tabs on threats.
It's not with Lebanese group Hezbollah. It's with Lebanon, their government. Has nothing to do with Hezbollah. Just to make that clear.
Including Iran. It'll be the first time an Israeli prime minister has taken the stand as a criminal defendant, and Netanyahu has repeatedly...
Hey, did you vote for him, though? Did you vote for him, though, Bob? That's what matters. Did you vote for him? Stop the cap.
Sought to delay the proceedings, citing the ongoing Gaza war and even security concerns. The judges ordered the trial to resume Tuesday, moving the proceedings in an underground chamber in a Tel Aviv court as a security precaution. Netanyahu's appearance in the courtroom will also draw attention to the other legal issues in the Israeli leader's orbit. Close advisors to his office are embroiled in a separate series of scandals surrounding leaked classified information and also doctored documents. While Netanyahu is not suspected of direct involvement in those, they could weaken his public image. So a lot to dissect as it relates to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. But again, we're getting this news early this Monday morning from the Associated Press, learning that Netanyahu is set to take the witness stand.
Yeah, good job, Associated Press, by the way, for getting this shit out.
For the first time in his corruption trial in Israel. Of course,
I think you and everyone else voted for him for that reason. I mean, one of the major reasons that he ran, right? And that was a big selling point. Yeah.
This gets underway. And of course, if we can get a camera inside of the courtroom, you'll get that right here on Live Now from Fox. The time now, 6 o'clock here on the East Coast, and we are following other breaking news developments as it relates to Middle East conflict. Take a look.
Definitely not me, Hank.
Transitioning the shot this Monday morning and giving you a live look at the Syria security Lebanon border. You can see how a lot of people are out and about on this Monday morning. We've even seen some protests in this area. As you know, this conflict has ramped up over the weekend. Syria now free from the grip of the Assad regime after rebel insurgents seized the capital city of Damascus.
Okay, now check this out. This is regarding Syria and Damascus, okay? So this is when Well, I mean, this report is from this morning, early this morning. But listen what she's got to say about Damascus.
Conflict has ramped up over the weekend. Syria now free from the grip of the Assad regime after rebel insurgents seized the capital city of Damascus overnight. Russian state media saying President Bashar al-Assad is now in Moscow. This as questions swirl this
now in Russia. Yes.
Over the future of Syria's government and also the stability of the always volatile Middle East. Fox News correspondent Alex Hogan joining us now from Tel Aviv, Israel, with the latest.
In a historic day here in the Middle East, rebels in Syria ousted President
in Tel Aviv right now, right?
Bashar al-Assad, ending his family's rule of more than 50 years. Syrian rebels stormed the presidential palace after 13 years of civil war. Russian media reporting that President Assad arrived with his family in Moscow. Russia's foreign ministry announced that he's ordered a peaceful handover of power after rebel forces made this announcement on state TV.
The city of Damascus has been liberated. The tyrant Bashar al-Assad has been toppled, and all the unjustly detained persons from the regime's prisons have been released.
The rebels are made up of a coalition of groups banded together to...
What's up, brother Doc? We got Dr. Harley up in the building. Shout out to my man. Appreciate you as well. Hopefully you're having a wonderful morning so far.
Throw the regime. The strongest group in the coalition is HTS, which the U.S. has designated as a terror group. HTS's leader, Abu Muhammad al-Golani, says this is a turning point for the Middle East and that there's no room for turning back. The stunning and rapid advance of opposition forces began less than 2 weeks ago. President Joe Biden today...
It's the wild, wild East, everybody. The wild, wild motherfucking East. Shit is fucking crazy.
Acknowledged this would not have been possible if President Assad's key allies, Russia, Iran, and Hezbollah, hadn't already been weakened. Still, Biden warned of the potential dangers in the days ahead.
That ISIS will try to take advantage of any vacuum to reestablish its capabilities and to create a safe haven. We will not let that happen. In fact, just today, U.S. forces conducted dozens of precision strikes, airstrikes, within Syria, targeting ISIS camps and ISIS operatives.
Already, Syrians have started flooding home through the borders of neighboring countries. 12 million people have been displaced. That is half of the country's pre-war population. In Tel Aviv, Israel, Alex Hogan, Fox News.
Alex, thank you so much for that detailed update. Getting back to this live look there, you're seeing security there at the Syria Lebanon.
Brother Hook Dog, good to see you, my man. We got a lot of shit going on this morning.
Border, and I'm being told by content partners at the Associated Press that these are actually also right now. I told you all earlier that there were protests underway. Well, right now
they'll always use children for shit like that, whether it be fucking booze, weed, cigarettes, nicotine. Yeah,
these are actually people trying to flee the area. All of this happening while Syria is now free from that grip of the Assad regime. A lot of concern this morning, though, as to where those people will flee. Again,
shit needs to deal with the VA. Warland, good luck with that shit. Hopefully you feel better, my man.
As we know, the Assad regime did have ties
to shit. All right. Motherfucker be lurking in the background. Yeah, I see you, my man.
Terroristic organization of Hezbollah right there in Lebanon. So concern of where those people will flee to. I want to give you a different angle of the security there at that border. Right now, you can see cars are parked and then people are out trying to get through this area. So, of course, as we get more information in as it relates to the conflict.
Yeah, that's kind of like what they're doing in California. What they did in California, they banned those type of cigarettes. It's not called. We don't call them methanol. What is it called again? Now I'm trying to fucking remember. I can't even remember what type of cigarettes that is. Where they're minty or whatever. Yeah, I hated those. Anytime I would get headaches from those. But they did the same shit in California, by the way. They banned all that shit. They said, vaping and vape flavoring of nicotine. Those minty cigarettes or whatever, that menthol. Yeah, menthol. I was saying it. I was looking and reading it wrong. That's funny. I was like reading that as methanol. Whatever. So anyways, yeah, they did the same exact shit in California, dude. I mean, Talk about some commie shit. Now, here's what's funny about it is they always will cater to, oh, it's because of the children. They're marketing to children, blah, blah, blah. That'll always be the excuse to be able to take something out. That's how you run emotional politics. You know what I mean?
With Syria. You can get that
Get you
right
to feel
here
a certain
on
way.
Live Now from Fox. We will continue to have analysis throughout the morning and, of course, some live interviews. A different look we are getting as it relates to conflict in the Middle East, which does take us to the Israel-Gaza border, where that flag is on the right side of your
All
screen.
right, we know exactly. I know a little bit about this, which is crazy. But Brother Dean actually sent me a really interesting picture of something very similar to this. And it looks almost the damn same from where he, whatever that he took the picture from. And like right here is the Gaza Strip. In between is like this weird buffer zone. And then the gate right here is the end of Israel, theoretically. So, yeah, definitely interesting.
That is Israel. And then in the distance where you see the smoke, that is the Gaza area. This missile strike and airstrike just happening moments before I showed you all this feed, just further showing the other conflict that ensues on this Monday. Not only conflict with Syria, but also conflict with Hamas there in Gaza.
Yeah. Man, stop the cap over here, Steve.
Stop the cap.
As I hit my vape, by the way. What'd you guys say about it, cuz? Shit.
And of course, as I just mentioned, with Hezbollah out in Lebanon, of
What's
course,
up,
many
cuzzo?
of these terroristic organizations backed by Iran proxy groups. So, of course, that conflict with Iran is imminent. The time now 6:05 here on the East Coast. We're going to go to our first 2-minute commercial break of the hour.
Pazzi, right? I said it right this time. Steve Pazzi, right?
We'll be right back.
Come on, man. I'm trying over here. I'm trying. All right, let's go ahead and skip past this.
Showing you before the break.
Okay. Boom. I want to hear more about this.
To this live image I was showing you before the break, which takes us out to the Israel-Gaza border. As I mentioned, conflict in the Middle East continues on this Monday morning. And we know that moments ago, the United Nations Human Rights Council High Commissioner Volker Turk, he held an end-of-year news conference addressing several things, including conflict in the Middle East. I want to play out his remarks for you now.
I got you, Martin.
Much anxiety for the future. Hope that this would be an opportunity for the country to build a future grounded in human rights, freedom and justice, and anxiety because so much is uncertain.
Now, I miss a lot now, Hook Dog. I mean, I don't miss a lot, but ever since the show has gotten a little bit more popular and there's more people in the chat, it's really hard to keep up. I'm not going to lie. It is a full-time, like, you have to really pay attention, really work towards it. It's focusing on chat and what you're doing at the same time is very hard. Always has been.
Any political transition must ensure accountability for perpetrators of serious violations and guarantee that those responsible are held to account. It is imperative that all be collected and preserved meticulously for future use. Reform of the security apparatus will be key. This transition must also ensure that the tragedy of missing people is addressed.
By the way, Barbie, nothing is a coincidence. Of course, it's politics got played on you guys, essentially.
Are reportedly ongoing in some parts of Syria, including in the northeast. It is really imperative, in fact, that all parties abide by their obligations on international humanitarian law and human rights law.
Right, I did see that,
All measures must be taken to ensure the protection of all minorities and to avert reprisals and acts of revenge. The only way forward is
What's up, brother Papa Penguin? Good morning, kind sir. Hopefully you're having a good one. We got a lot of shit going on in the news, bro.
Nationally owned political process that brings an end to the litany of suffering, fulfills the aspirations of all Syrians, and ensures truth, justice, reparation, healing, and reconciliation. It is essential that the human rights of all Syrians are at the core of such a process through meaningful and inclusive participation, including notably of women and young people. Syria's sovereignty, unity, independence, and territorial integrity must be restored. And my office is ready to support this transition process.
Oh boy, here we go.
This year has been marked by horrific numbers of people killed and severely injured in conflict on and off the battlefield. Just this past weekend, at least 184 people were killed in violence orchestrated by the leader of a powerful gang in the Haitian capital Port-au-Prince in the Cité Soleil area. These latest killings bring the death toll just this year in Haiti to a staggering 5,000 people. We need to stem the flow of arms into Haiti.
You got it messed up, Steve. You got to remember, it's Straitjacket and Roberto. Those two are totally suspects. I'm just saying, I'm being honest here. Just totally sus.
Sudan and
Not me, though.
Myanmar to put on notice those providing arms, including to Israel and non-state armed actors in Lebanon, Syria, the occupied Palestinian territory, that international law requires states to exercise care that weapons they provide are not used to commit violations. We need to insist that it is not okay and not legal to use anti-personnel.
What's up, Brother Breyer? Good to see you, by the way. And yes, I got me a 3-hour nap. You know, I guess that's what it turned out to be. Fell asleep at 5:30, woke up at 8:30 in the morning. So, boom. Yeah, we good. We good to go. Good to rock and roll. We doing it. Doing our damn thing.
Minds in
and
Ukraine.
I'm not hungover.
It is not okay to provide them for use there. And it is not okay to reduce the threshold for the use of nuclear weapons. Instead, there should be an all-out effort by states to make it harder, not easier, to use such horrific weapons in the first place. I urge all states to refrain from taking any steps that could fuel conflict and lead to further escalation. The cost of war is so high. The human toll is incalculable. States need to do all in their power to insist that such senseless conflicts and suffering end. The world must turn away from the death.
So I got enough from you, homie. Like he goes on for a fucking minute. All right, like, you know what? I get the point. Good job. I'll just go ahead and leave it at that. Let's go ahead and move on over a little bit and see what is happening. What is this headline real quick? No, I don't care about that right this second. I already know what his day one plans are. Was this the video clip that we reviewed?
News alerts. This one takes us out to the Middle East. You're getting a live look as security clearance is underway there at the Syria Lebanon border. Earlier this morning,
updated?
before we came on the air, there were actually protests out in this area. You can see things have kind of calmed down, but you will see people standing off to the side, watching in real time what could potentially happen. And then people, you might see them running back and forth with different flags. Syria now free from the grip of the Assad regime. This after rebel insurgents seized the capital city of Damascus overnight. Russian state media saying President Bashar al-Assad is now in Moscow as questions swirl over the future of Syria.
Yeah, talk about an oxymoron, by the way. Yeah, Human Rights Commission includes Sudan, Afghanistan, and the UAE. Forgive me for not taking them serious. Yeah, that's a total oxymoron, by the way.
Government and the stability 100%. Of the always volatile Middle East. Fox News correspondent Alex Hogan joins us.
She said it best. Always volatile. Damn straight. Always volatile in the Middle East.
Tel Aviv, Israel, with the very latest developments.
Oh, shit.
Syria ousted President Bashar al-Assad, ending his family's rule of more than 50 years.
Good to hear, man.
Syrian rebels stormed the presidential palace after 13
So this
years
was, so this was essentially what we had just pretty much watched. Let me go ahead and skip ahead.
Russian media reporting that President Assad arrived with his family in Moscow. Russia's foreign ministry announced that he's ordered a peaceful handover of power.
These past few days,
I want to hear Netanyahu.
It's been historic. And, you know, it's in the days ahead that will determine the future of this country. We intend to approach them with strength, wisdom, and resolve. So thank you very much. God bless America.
I don't even care what Biden
Protect
says.
our troops. Thank you.
Literally, I don't even care what Biden says. He's so full of shit. It's not even funny. Not even joking.
To Assad now, Mr. President.
See you later, nerd. See ya, nerd. See
So that's the
ya.
very latest from President Biden speaking on the Syrian government collapse. You can see as he was
What's up,
walking
Seymour?
out the door, the reporters
Good morning.
were
Good morning.
asking him
As well as AU.
about other topics. We also know that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu spoke about the Syrian government collapse as well. Take a listen.
Regime, the tyranny in Damascus offers great opportunity, but also is fraught with significant dangers.
Okay, so this part, we broke the news of Netanyahu speaking this exact little speech he does. We covered that yesterday morning. I just wanted to see if this was going to be the same or not, but it is, and I'll let it play. It's not incredibly long. And then afterwards, we're going to hear what the Israeli government has to say regarding Syria right now. So I do want to hear this, and then we'll move up to the Israeli government.
This collapse is a direct result of our forceful action against Hezbollah and Iran, Assad's main supporters. It set off a chain reaction of all those who want to free themselves from this tyranny and its oppression.
Oh my God.
But it also means we have to take action against possible threats. One of them is the collapse of the Separation of Forces Agreement from 1974 between Israel and Syria. This agreement held for 50 years. Last night it collapsed. The Syrian army abandoned its positions. We gave the Israeli army the order to take over these positions to ensure that no hostile force embeds itself.
Yeah, it's Monday, so it should be
right next to the border of Israel. This is a temporary defensive position until a suitable arrangement is found. Equally, we send a hand of peace to all
it's a small hat guy.
Those beyond our border in Syria, to the Druze, to the Kurds, to the Christians, and to the Muslims who want to live in peace with Israel. We're going to follow events very carefully. If we can establish neighborly relations and a peaceful relations with the new forces emerging in Syria, that's our desire. But if we do not, we'll do whatever it takes to defend the state of Israel and the border of Israel. This is a historic day for the Middle East. The collapse of the Assad regime, the tyranny in Damascus, offers great opportunity, but also is fraught with significant dangers. This collapse is a direct result of our forceful action against Hezbollah and Iran, Assad's main supporters. It set off a chain reaction.
In Iran. You heard him say that. He didn't say Hezbollah and Lebanon. He said Hezbollah and Iran.
Of all those who want to free themselves from this tyranny and its oppression. But it also means we have to take action against possible threats. One of them is the collapse of the Separation of Forces Agreement from 1974 between Israel and Syria. This agreement held for 50 years. Last night it collapsed. The Syrian army abandoned its positions. We gave the Israeli army the order to take over these positions to ensure that no hostile force embeds itself right next to the border of Israel. This is a temporary defensive position until a suitable arrangement is found. Equally, we send a hand of peace to all those beyond our border in Syria, to the Druze, to the Kurds, to the Christians, and to the Muslims who want to live in peace with Israel.
Yes, there's always a byproduct of shit like this, right, Papa? Totally.
Follow events very carefully. If we can establish neighborly relations and a peaceful relations with the new forces emerging in Syria, that's our desire.
What's up, Asylum Gaming?
If we do not, we'll do whatever it takes to defend the state of Israel and the border of Israel. This is a historic day for the Middle East. The collapse of the Assad regime, the tyranny in Damascus, offers great opportunity, but also is fraught with significant dangers. This collapse is a direct result of our
what kind of opportunity? You know what I mean? I'd be like, fuck, man, just so I don't get shot at anymore. Damn it.
Action against Hezbollah and Iran, Assad's main supporters. It set off a chain reaction of all those who want to free themselves from this tyranny and its oppression.
Brother Jay.
But it also means we have to take action against possible threats. One of them is the collapse of the Separation of Forces Agreement from 1974 between Israel and Syria. This agreement held for 50 years. Last night it collapsed. the Syrian army abandoned its positions. We gave the Israeli army the order to take over these positions to ensure that no hostile force embeds itself right next to the border of Israel. This is a temporary defensive position until a suitable arrangement is found. Equally, we send a hand of peace to all those beyond our border in Syria, to the Druze, to the Kurds, to the Christians, and to the Muslims who want to live in peace with Israel. We're going to follow events very carefully. If we can establish neighborly relations and a peaceful relations with
so the veiny side touches that tongue. I get you.
New forces emerging in Syria, that's our desire. But if we do not, we'll do whatever it takes to defend the state of Israel and the border of Israel. This is a historic day for the Middle East. The collapse of the Assad regime, the tyranny in Damascus, offers great opportunity, but also is fraught with significant dangers. This collapse is a direct result of our forceful action against Hezbollah and Iran, Assad's main supporters. It set off a chain reaction of all those who want to free themselves from this tyranny and its oppression. But it also means we have to take action against possible threats. One of them is the collapse of the Separation of Forces Agreement from 1974 between Israel and Syria. This agreement held for 50 years. Last night it collapsed. The Syrian army abandoned its positions. We gave the Israeli army the order to take over these positions to ensure that no hostile force embeds itself right next to the border of Israel. This is a temporary defensive position until a suitable arrangement is found. Equally, we send a hand of peace to all those beyond our border in Syria, to the Druze, to the Kurds, to the Christians, and to the Muslims who want to live in peace with Israel. We're going to follow events very carefully.
So he just keeps saying the same shit over and over, or is it on replay? I mean, what the fuck? All right, let's see. Fuck the EU Commission briefing. I'm going to be honest. That's going to be all dog shit. All of it. Guaranteed just going to be complete dog shit. We saw this chick talk about Syria in the beginning of the top of the hour. But now I want to get over to Israel's foreign minister speaks on recent developments in Syria as well as their government. So let's go ahead and back this up a little bit because I do want to hear this ordeal. I have not heard, I honestly don't know this guy. Like, I haven't been invested into Israel like I have been. So for me, I don't even know who this guy is. I've never seen him.
For arriving,
foreign prime minister, but I've never seen him.
The Iranian occupation over Syria had reached to its end. Assad, for a long time, did not rely on the support of his people, but on foreign forces. That's why his ruling over Syria was temporary, and his failure should not be surprised. Should not come as a surprise.
Are you a little nervous?
Iranian
What's happening?
Control over Syria was artificial as much as its control over
No, I'm totally not interested, Anson. Like, meanwhile, everyone else is like focused on shit like that. I'm focused on like the real ordeal of what's happening in the world. I mean, yeah, it's an interesting story, but I don't know, man. Like, I got too much shit to discuss around the world that affects people more than one person, you know?
Lebanon. The people of Lebanon deserve as well to be independent and not under Iranian occupation. The Iranian appetite was too big, and they thought they could control all over the region. But one could have analyzed it is...
Are you not able to use your words? Find your words, motherfucker.
Stupid. Cannot last. With regard to the situation now.
I did see that, by the way, Dwayne. Good to see you, by the way.
The one who leads and takes control in Damascus right now, Jolani and others, are people with an extreme ideology of radical Islam. That's why our expectations from the new entity are realistic. And we will follow.
What's up, Blair? Good
the
morning, kind sir.
steps, and we will follow the deeds. The steps we took, the only interest we have is the security of Israel and its citizens. That's why we attacked strategic weapon systems.
Yeah, you went after their weapon system, correct? Yeah, their chemical weapons. Like you actually destroyed plants in Syria just this morning.
For example, remaining of chemical weapons.
Right.
Or long-range missiles and rockets.
Missile.
In order that they will not fall in the hands of extremists. At the same time, and in the context of violations of the disengagement agreement we have with Syria from 1974, including during last Saturday attacks on UNDOF's positions and outposts near our border, and with regard to a threat on our security.
Bro, you speak so damn slow. I mean, I understand that English is probably not your number one language. I understand. I give benefit of the doubt. But man, if you're going to be like speaking on shit like this and talking to the world, you better be a good public speaker, man. For real.
Mainly our communities in the Golan Heights. We took in some points, ruling territories near the border in order not to be surprised from October 7 in the Syrian border. I emphasize it is a very limited and temporary step we took from security reasons. Another thing which I think is very important to understand today about the situation in Syria and must be followed.
Yeah, for real, Dirty. He's definitely on some hooked on phonics.
Of the minorities in Syria. The Kurds, the Druze, the Christians, the Alawites as well. And here we will pay attention more to deeds rather than words. The attacks on the Kurds, as we saw yesterday in Manbij, must be stopped. It's a commitment of the international community towards those who fought bravely against ISIS and won against ISIS. And it's also a commitment for the future of Syria, because the Kurds are stabilizing force in this country. We have a connection, and we discuss this matter with the American administration as much as with other states. As I see it, there is an American commitment for the safety of the Kurds. With regard to the future of Syria, a decade ago, I said and wrote that I think that Syria will be...
You're not even joking, to be honest. Breyer says these folks are just set on getting a global conflict fired up before the new administration takes over. Freaking bunch of psychos. Listen, man, the world setting right now is fucking insane. And I'm not just speaking about like United States, not just talking about Middle East, not just talking about Europe, not talking about any of that shit. It's just overall, it's insane. And right now, it's hence why I'm also really glued to it, because I know what this could start and the people that are involved, what handshakes have been made, what deals have been made with different countries. And it's very easy to cross that line. And then all of a sudden, it's just like a domino effect, you know? And so I'm hoping it doesn't happen, but
as in the past, one state with an effective control and sovereignty over all its territory, probably it's not realistic.
That's right, Carney. Thank you for that. Hit that like button, you guys. Thank you for that.
We should follow, of course, what will be the decisions in Syria.
Hook Dog, he doesn't even have any excuse. Like, at least Biden has an excuse because he's an old fuck. You know what I mean? Like, that dude is total, like, Parkinson's or dementia fucking patient at this point. Like, at least he's got an excuse. Now, the one excuse I guess I will give this guy is primarily, I guarantee you that English is not his first language. But that doesn't give you any excuse. You sound like you're doing just fine, like, being able to enunciate words. So what's happening? Come on, man. Speed it up.
But
let me see if I can do this even.
It is clear.
That's what I'm going to do.
Important.
Fuck yeah.
To, as I said, to protect minorities, and it is logical.
Oh,
to give
thank God. Oh, now we can actually hear this somewhat decently. We had to 2 times speed this motherfucker. God damn. All right, here we go.
Important to, as I said, to protect minorities, and it is logical to give a certain extent of autonomy to minorities in Syria. Altogether, in this in the turmoil we see in the region, and not only in Syria, Israel emphasized and Israel demonstrate that it is a force, not only with power, but a stable power in this part of the world.
Thank you, Foreign Minister. Questions, please.
Oh, now he's going to have questions. So hopefully he speaks a little faster now. So let's go ahead and bring it down to 1.5.
Yes.
What's up, Jess? Good to see you again. Good morning to you. Can't hear him. Keeps going in and out.
Of course, we are in touch with the Kurds in Syria, but I will not elaborate
yeah, no
on
kidding,
the contents
Papa.
of the talks. Naturally, it is important to us, and we will follow that the path that was in the past, maybe the main path for smuggling a weapon system into Hezbollah in Lebanon, will be closed, and we will take all the necessary steps to do it. We took steps, and we will take steps. Right now, it seems that it will be harder for the Iranians to do it, but of course, we must follow what will be on the ground. And we will also follow what will be.
Mike, do you think this could be a beginning of a second spring in the Middle East? Yeah, it could. Definitely. It's easily, America can easily get wrapped up in some shit. Let's just say that. They can easily do it. And especially, like, January 20th can't come quick enough. I'm just going to be really real about that. January 20th cannot get here fast enough.
Other possible paths like from the sea or from here. Anyhow, we are determined to avoid the rearm of Hezbollah in Lebanon.
Thank you. Please.
Can't hear anything, by the way. Yeah, see, the microphone, whatever is barely picking up their voice, is way far away. It's not even the proper mic. It's probably the stage mic that they hear. That we hear, anyways. It just keeps going in and out, so we're just going to have to wait until Homeboy speaks.
First of all, it was
dirty.
With regard to the first question, it was a decision of our security cabinet, which we took as a decision necessary for our security, and the kind of decisions we take ourselves. Of course, we work in coordination with the UN there. Not only coordination, we protected UN people this weekend, and we will continue to do so. With regard to what will be in the future, Comrade Prophet, it is important right now to take necessary steps. All necessary steps are taken in the context of the security of Israel and not in the context of intervening between the different forces in Syria. This is not our interest.
No, I don't think it can control world leaders, but I trust his judgment in going into war more than I do with Biden. End of story. You know what I mean? I trust his actual war judgment better than Joe Biden. Period.
But our security interest is very important. And as you know, we did it also during the previous regime in Damascus, when we saw there an attempt of the Iranian to establish force
in Syria or to bring into Syria strategic weapon systems. We attacked it in the past during all the last years because our enemies tried to create from Syria another base to attack Israel. Of course, unacceptable. Right now, we will follow what will happen with the new administration. I don't know if we can speak right now of a new administration, but eventually.
Thank you. Yes, please, James.
Well, I hadn't analyzed it yet from
actually, I would say all of American, I would pretty much say all of American mainstream media is pro-Israel. Primarily, I would say. I mean, at least they own all of it, right?
a legal point of view.
They own the fucking media.
I must admit that's not the most important thing we are doing right now. We are taking steps in the context of our security. We are also discussing with our allies, and we are in a connection with the Druze minority in Syria, with the Kurds in Syria. This is the context that we are taking steps. I don't think that the situation there stabilized to the extent we can now define things from the legal point of view.
Steve. They're smart that way. Yep, totally.
I don't know if
and thank you for that, brother Hook Dog. We're about to see Homeboy. I always forget his fucking name speak. Now, I'm actually kind of like over this dude, to be quite honest. I really want to hear from Homeboy up here. That's really what I want to do. So we get his position, right? Everyone can gather what his position is. All right, let me slow it down.
Getting back to one of the top stories of the day, which takes us back to the Middle East.
And thank you, Hook Dog, for real.
In Syria, as Middle East conflict continues at this hour, happening right now, the Israeli government, they have come together out in Tel Aviv, Israel, to hold their Monday morning Israeli briefing. Several topics to be discussed, including this conflict in Syria, but also the conflict with Hezbollah and Hamas. Let's listen in.
There we go. There we go. Shit.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Shalom, I'm David Mensa,
Shalom.
Israeli government spokesman for the Office of National Public Diplomacy in the Prime Minister's office this Monday, the 9th of December, day 433 of the October 7th war, the Simchat.
Well, let me just go ahead and be very, very clear, Bob. There's no way that it's literally impossible to get in as a president now in the United States without being pro-Israel. It's impossible. Impossible. You need to have the backing of Israel in order to get into office. Period. End of story. I said it.
Torah war. Please put your questions in the chat now, and we'll take each one of them. Just a couple of updates from me, and then we'll get to your questions on our fallen soldiers. The tragic amongst Israel's armed forces. It is with regret that I share with you that since the last briefing, 813 soldiers have fallen. Captain Avrom Ben Pinchas was 24 years old and from Harasha. He fell in battle in southern Gaza. And these men fell in battle in southern Lebanon. Master Sergeant in the reserves, Binyamin Destau Negoz, was 28 years old and from Bet Shemesh. Sergeant First Class in the reserves, Erez Ben Ephraim, was 25 years old and from Ramat Gan. Major in the reserves, Evgeny Zinashen,
I appreciate you, Steve.
43 and from Zichron Yaakov. And captain in the reserves, Sagi Yaakov Rubenstein, was 31 and from Lavi. There are no words of mine that can assuage the pain of their parents and their families. The Prime Minister this morning sent his condolences on behalf of the nation from the bottom of our hearts. The pain of the families is the pain of all of us. We embrace them, their dear families who have lost their precious heroes, sons and daughters in this war.
Fair.
For our very existence. The price of war is heavy and painful. Each casualty is a world unto itself. May their memories be a blessing forever. Next on Syria, the collapse of the Assad regime is truly an historic moment for the Middle East. As the Prime Minister has said, the end of tyranny in Damascus offers a great opportunity, but is also fraught with significant danger.
What opportunity other than us not getting fucked up by them anymore? You know what I mean?
For Israel. Israel's forceful action against Hezbollah and against Iran, Assad's main
much love, brother Blair,
were in turn used
See you
by
on the flip
Assad's
side, man.
enemies. It set a chain of events, a chain reaction for those who want to free themselves from this tyranny and its oppression. But it also means that Israel has had to take action against these possible threats. One of them clearly is the collapse of the Separation Forces Agreement from 1974 between Israel and Syria. This agreement had held for 50 years. The Syrian army having abandoned its positions, Israel's government gave our forces the order to take over these positions to ensure that no hostile jihadi forces or Hezbollah embedded themselves right next to the border of Israel. This is a temporary defensive position until a suitable arrangement is found. As always, Israel first and foremost puts forward a hand of peace to those beyond our border in Syria, to the Druze, to the Kurds, to the Christians, and also to the Muslims who want to live in peace with Israel. We are following events very, very carefully. If we can establish neighborly relations and peaceful relations with the new forces emerging in Syria, then that is clearly our desire. We want nothing more. But if we do not, we will do whatever it takes to defend the state of Israel and the border of our country.
Oh, we know.
Practically, what does this mean? It means that the IDF has reinforced its forces on the Golan Heights.
Damn straight, by the way, Mount High. Hit that like button, yo. We got plenty of left-handed tobacco. We're getting down with our bad selves.
And deployed forces in the buffer zone
and
at additional points. Our objective is to prevent hostile jihadi armed forces.
And by the way, that's a fact, Martin.
And Hezbollah from entering the area. Israel, as ever, will do whatever
do I have to
it
reset my
takes
cam again
to ensure the safety of the communities on the Golan Heights and all of our civilians. Next on our efforts to get our hostages released in Gaza, I can tell you that Israel will do everything in its power to bring back all 100 hostages, both the living and those who've already been killed. Of the 113 are women, 2 are children, 83 are men, including the elderly. 430 days now. There are negotiations. The US leads them with others. Let me just add that the psychological terror videos released are evidence of the inhumanity, the murderous cruelty of Hamas. Our people are captive in horrific conditions, in violation of international law. Citizens of our country, but
I need me some Baileys right now, Hook Dog. That sounds good. Coffee and some Baileys right now? That'd be great.
Citizens of many countries, other countries as well. Next to the ceasefire in the north, Israel will continue to enforce the agreement and will respond with force to any violation. Yesterday, for instance, the Air Force struck Hezbollah terrorists in a weapons storage facility in southern Lebanon. This was in clear violation of the ceasefire agreement between Israel and Lebanon. We, of course, have said from the beginning of this ceasefire arrangement, we maintain our right to act against any threat.
Nobody blames you for that.
To our security, which breaches the ceasefire agreement.
Whoa, what's up, my man? We got brother Chris Lestrange up in here. Appreciate you always. Hopefully you're having a wonderful afternoon, evening for you. Yeah, a lot going on in the news. And I mean, a lot of you guys saw me break news yesterday regarding Syria and Assad being ran out of Syria and moving over into Russia, right? He's in Moscow right now. So we've got a lot of discussion going on because just last night, the Israeli Defense Forces, they struck multiple chemical plants in Syria. And yeah, I mean, they're doing the damn motherfucking thing over there right now. And so they ran that motherfucker out, Assad. And now they're discussing how they're going to go and move forward with this.
Time and other times
Good morning, by the way.
Enforcement. Israel will enforce this agreement.
That's
Next,
a fact, Jay.
The Iranian proxy from Yemen this morning fired a UAV that originated in Yemen.
Damn dirty. Where was my fucking invite, cuh? Why didn't you invite me? Okay, I guess I'm not cool enough in the Breakfast Club, huh? That's cool. That's cool. I'll remember this shit.
Impacted in the area of Yavne near the southern Mediterranean town of Ashdod. For over a year now, we've been standing against these terror attacks by Iran and their proxies. Iran.
Man, I wasn't able to break dance. I wasn't able to break dance when I had 2 motherfucking legs. I couldn't touch my toes when I had 2 motherfucking legs. Ironically, now I can touch my toes without even bending down if I want. Yeah, shit.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Feels good to be a G.
Weakened, and they are exposed. But one thing which is constant is that Israel will not accept these repeated threats to our existence. And finally, on COGAT and Israel's humanitarian efforts to get supplies into Gaza, let me share with you our latest figures from the last 24 hours. 103 humanitarian aid trucks entered Gaza. 66 trucks were collected from the Gaza.
Now, you got to remember, that's with no UN fucking help. They're on the UN halted all aid through the Gaza Strip. So, I mean, that's a huge amount of chunk of change right there. And they're still sending shit in.
Side of Kerem Shalom by international organizations, but still 685 trucks worth of aid are still awaiting collection from the Gazan side of Kerem Shalom. International agencies need to get their act together.
You're not joking, by the way, Steve. I see you up in here.
Pick it up and deliver it. If you bring lorries, Israel will facilitate their entry and you can distribute the aid. A convoy of 63 trucks entered Gaza directly through Gate 96. 7 tankers of fuel and 6 tankers of cooking gas went in for essential infrastructure. 3 tankers of fuel were coordinated to northern Gaza for water pumping and bakeries. Now, terrorist organizations continue.
No, I wasn't. Okay, here's the difference. Gangsters don't dance, we boogie. You get down like a totally different way. I was sea walking on the motherfucking concrete. You dig? That's what I was doing.
Oh shit!
That's what I was doing in that video. Was not dancing. Gangsters don't dance, we boogie.
Continue to obstruct the entrance of humanitarian aid into Gaza. Yesterday, I can share with you that terrorists.
I guess that is true. I guess I only have 5 toes now, so real ones, anyways. But hey, there's fake toes on my prosthetic leg, bruh. You're gonna say that they're not real? I identified that those toes on my prosthetic leg are real. Respect my pronouns, okay, dude? Respect it.
Shelled, actually mortared the humanitarian corridor itself next to Kerem Shalom, the Kerem Shalom aid crossing. So to be clear, this is terrorists themselves trying to disrupt aid delivery to their own people. Once again, evidence that Hamas hates Gazans and they're willing to promote a famine to try and starve their people. Israel has stopped that effort, and our army eliminated the threat and the aid resumed. The IDF and COGAT acts in accordance with international law. Hamas want to starve their own people, but Israel gets the food in. So that's the end of our briefing today. Questions, please, in the chat.
Nope, very much still plastic, just like their tits, too. Very much plastic. Mm-hmm. Or that gelatin, that petroleum gelatin latex bullshit, whatever that shit is called. I forget what that stuff is called. But anyways, my fake toes are plastic.
And we'll take each one of them. Okay, first question here I can see is from Nicolas Ruger from Libération. What is the state's reasons for asking for another delay in responding to the Supreme Court's petition on allowing access to the foreign press in Gaza? Thank you for that, Nicolas. I haven't got any further information on that particular issue.
Yeah, that's right, Kieran, by the way. How dare you eliminate your fucking enemy? What's up, my man? From down under, good morning to you. I know it's late for you. I think it's like 4:14 in the morning or something like that for you in the morning right now.
I can tell you, Nicolas, that there is no shortage of news coming out of Gaza. It has filled our screens. It has headlined the news consistently for the last 14 months. There has been no shortage of news.
GEG.
I can also remind you that Hamas were the ones who took journalists as hostage in the early, just between 10 and 15 years ago. BBC journalists themselves were taken hostage by Hamas. This is a war zone, and we will do everything in our power to get our hostages back. And we will do nothing that jeopardizes the future of our hostages. I would be more impressed if you were asking about getting our hostages access to the Red Cross, or encouraging the Red Cross to have access to our one.
That's right. That's right. Listen, while you got a leg up on the situation, listen, what's crazy about the situation is a guy like me who doesn't even have a leg to stand on. Man, get down like a motherfucker over here on this side. Just saying. Just saying. Chicks love scars. You dig?
100 hostages that remain in Hamas's grasp. There is no shortage of news coming out of the region. And you've asked a further question. Can you expand on why Israel has repeatedly committed to freedom of the press, but finds it impossible to allow journalists into zones that are not active combat in the Gaza Strip? Thank you. Okay, I believe I've answered that question, Nicolas. Again, there's no shortage of news coming out of Gaza.
Yeah, no kidding.
It really literally fills our screens from morning till night.
We know.
And, the story is
Israel is an hour, or not even hour by hour. Israel, I swear to God, is like minute by minute. I mean, shit changes quick around there. Shit happens a lot fast.
Getting out. What is not getting out is our hostages. And once again, we'd be more impressed if the international media.
I gotta admit that that was a good little play on words he did right there. Good point.
Presentations to get our people out rather than their people in. Next question here is from Joel Pollack at Breitbart News. First, is Israel concerned that the Syrian rebels led by al-Jolani may represent a threat? Thank you for that question, Joel. Earlier in my statement, I gave a...
Boom. What's up, Martin? Shit, you gotta be ready next time, Cut.
Reaction to the situation in Syria. All of us here in Israel are aware of.
All right, guy in Altoona, I think that's how you say it. I'm illiterate as fuck, so. But in Pennsylvania, where I was from, was just arrested. The guy that was just arrested for the New York shooting. Damn, shit, it's happening.
The organizations, these rebels, which have taken control in
Syria. That is news.
Our first reaction is, of course, the hand of peace to all the different sects in Syria. We want good neighborly relations, but our eyes are extremely wide open to the history of these.
I have to say that's facts, Steve. I cannot argue that. Nope. They are bros.
And the things which they stand for. Israel will always put its first hand out to peace, but we are under no illusion of who has taken control in Syria.
Everyone gets censored up in this bitch. I mean, actually, I'm surprised how much is going through right now, but a lot of you guys, I still see a few of you guys in the chat that are like, dude, I can't get anything through.
But we hope it's for a better future for their people as well as for ours.
They got him at the McDonald's there?
Next question.
Wow.
Is Israel concerned about Turkey's ambitions in Syria? Thank you for that question.
Good question.
I haven't got anything to add on that.
Oh, you got nothing to add about that. We know that you think and feel a certain way. What are you talking about?
On number 3, is Israel able
to right over that.
Help minority communities in Syria, such as the Christians, Druze, and Kurds, who may be concerned for their safety? Well, let me share with you something on that, on particularly the minority issue, because our Foreign Minister Gideon Saar just this morning. Our Minister for Foreign Affairs just this morning emphasized the importance of protecting minorities in Syria. So, for instance, the attacks on the Kurds, which we saw just yesterday in Manbij. The foreign minister, our foreign minister Gideon Saar, said that these attacks must stop immediately. And Israel is most definitely discussing this with our friends in the US administration, as well as other countries. So look, it is Israel's belief that the international community has a moral obligation towards those who fought bravely against ISIS in particular, and other Islamic fundamentalist jihadi groups. These forces can also be a stabilizing force in Syria. So it'll be the test of the new leaders of Syria, how they treat their minorities. The world is watching, as is Israel, of course. Number 4, will Israel call on the ICC to charge Assad with war crimes?
Not going to happen.
Which it has never done.
It'll never happen. What are you talking about? The ICC is 1,000% a biased organization against Israel. 100%.
Thank you for that question, Joel. Israel's not a member of the ICC, and I haven't got anything more to add on that particular question.
I agree.
Is there truth to stories that Israel is nearing a hostage deal with Hamas? Thank you for that question, Joel, on the hostage deal. Look, it has been our the way we've done things here since this war began, 420 days not to negotiate from this podium or in public. Our objective has been from the beginning to get our hostages back. We will still, and the Prime Minister's made this clear very recently, that we want to get all of them home. We will do everything in our power to get them home, and we're taking forward the latest opportunities to get them home. I don't want to say more than that. It doesn't help the situation. Ultimately, Israel has been extremely clear. They need to be brought home now, 420 days. It is a breach of international law. It's against humanitarian law. They haven't for once, not one moment, had any access to the Red Cross.
Bro, let me just say something real quick, Kieran, because you're recently just starting to come around, at least over here on Insane Wheels. Insane Wheels is not a normal YouTube page. It's not a normal YouTube anything. It's a fucking family, for real. This is not some whatever, like, where I know every one of you guys, and I have my own, like, relationship with each and every one of you guys. And we keep in contact, man. We're really like that. So, Kieran, W for you being here, my man. And Carney, you saw the deal. Absolutely. I see you caught that left-handed tobacco.
And they need to be brought home right now, and Israel will do everything in its power to bring them home. Okay, could you scroll down? Next question from Hannah Julian. What will Israel do if Syria continues to present a threat in southern Lebanon when the ceasefire hits the...
Yeah, but you're pro-capitalist, right? And that goes for people in medicine. That goes for big pharma. That goes for everything, right? Capitalism is amazing. It's the number one system, but it is flawed. There are things
60 day mark
does get fucked up.
Let me share with you our thoughts on that, because I'll say to you very, very clearly, Hannah, that fire will be met by fire and peace will be met by peace. As you know, this ceasefire agreement in Lebanon has come into effect now.
That's right, Barbie.
From Israel's perspective, it's about enforcement. We've made very clear our desire for the cessation of hostilities. Hezbollah have breached this ceasefire on a number of occasions, and we have taken action to prevent further breaches by attacking Hezbollah fighters, as I outlined in my briefing. So at the same time, we are operating determinedly to any violation of the ceasefire agreement. So while enforcing the agreement,
Amelia, damn straight.
We are fully aware what Hezbollah is. We have weakened them. The results, what's happened in Syria is evidence of that fact. Hezbollah is weakened. Iran is exposed and weakened, but we will take forward our plan to achieve defense of all of our people here, and ultimately peace for all of our people in this region. Next question from Jane Merrick from the newspaper. Israel has attacked, you're saying that Israel has attacked Syria's chemical weapons facility. What's the current assessment of what is left of the weapons cache after the strikes? Does it still pose a threat? Thank you for that question, Jane, from the newspaper.
On who you know, the connections you got, the money behind those connections. Yeah, it's true.
Let me answer it in this way. Israel will do whatever it can to defend itself. That's been true in the past.
We know that.
It will be true in the future. We will do everything.
I don't know why they feel like they have to emphasize that nonstop. I mean, I get it if you're nonstop in war, and they are, but it's like, man, we know that. Every country should have the right to defend themselves.
To defend ourselves. Next question is from Joel Pollack at Breitbart News. New question: would Israel consider a long-term presence atop of Mount Hermon? Why would it ever give up such a strategic spot again? And can we look forward to ski lifts or cable car rides to the top? Thank you for that question, Joel. I haven't got any information for you about the skiing situation.
You know, from the clouds that I saw, they just let it go right into the atmosphere. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how else you really could contain it. They just bombed that motherfucker. I mean, well, not bombed. They missiled it. You know, they basically just sent out strikes. Israeli defense strikes chemical weapons plant in Syria. Now, there was only one that was, but I believe there is two that they actually got. But we saw the destruction of at least one.
Right now, on the Hermon, needless to say, the ski resort is closed at the moment, despite there being a good covering of snow up there. Israel's made clear what the situation is when it comes to the buffer zone. We have entered the buffer zone because the Syrian army has abandoned the positions, and so that means that with the collapse of this Assad regime, it means that there is not only opportunity for a better future, but also significant dangers for Israel. So we are taking forceful action against anyone that would seek to harm our people. We know as well that it means that we have taken action against these possible threats. One of them, as you've mentioned that just there, is the Separation Forces Agreement from 1974 between Israel and Syria. This agreement, as I've mentioned, has been held for 50 years, but with the Syrian army having abandoned its position.
Yes, sir.
Our government has given our forces the order, and this includes the area you mentioned on the Hermon, to take over these positions to ensure that no hostile jihadi forces or Hezbollah embed themselves right next to the border of Israel. Now, we've made clear in answer to your question that this is a temporary defensive position until a suitable arrangement can be found. Look, first things first, the Prime Minister made clear yesterday that our first hand has been put out to peace, to all of those in Syria now, to all of the
I can answer that, Ghost Eagle. Usually the alcohol, usually.
There, to the Druze, to the Kurds, to the Christians, to the Muslims who want to live in peace with Israel. We're going to follow events very, very carefully. But if we can establish neighborly relations and peaceful relations with the new forces emerging in Syria, then that is, of course, our desire. But if we do not find our peaceful overtures reciprocated, then we will, as ever, do whatever it takes to defend our country and the border. So practically, what does this mean? It means that the IDF is reinforced. We've reinforced our forces on the Golan Heights, and we've also deployed forces in the buffer zone, and also in another few additional points. Our objective, in answer to your
which are
question,
where?
is to prevent hostile jihadi armed forces and Hezbollah from entering the area. We'll do whatever it takes to ensure the safety of our communities on the Golan, as well as the rest of Israel.
Wow. No way, Papa. That's insane.
Another question here from Fred Ager. And your question is, thousands of Syrian refugees are eagerly waiting at the border crossings of southern Turkey, eager to return home at the fall of Assad's government. Many arrived in Silveguzu and on Supinar. Excuse me if I butchered those.
I can't. I'm with you. I can't read fucking jack shit, let alone a different language or a different country's name or country's cities. Yeah, no, I'm bad that way too.
Names, border gates, dressed in blankets and coats. Hundreds of displaced Syrians were also returning to Syria from Lebanon, with dozens of cars lining up to enter. Any concerns for Israel regarding civilian migrant refugee movements? Any particular measures? Thank you for that question, Fred. I haven't got anything particularly to share with you. I have shared with you already that we've bolstered our forces on the Golan and in the areas which have been vacated by the Syrian army. We have bolstered our forces. We've said that these are temporary measures, but ultimately we'll do whatever we can to facilitate that the border remains peaceful and that jihadis and our enemies do not occupy the space which was previously either manned by the Syrian army or by the UNDOF force, which was supposed to maintain the buffer zone.
I like that he's actually answering a lot of these fucking questions, though.
Okay, that's the last question today. Thank you for joining us. In the meantime, please do stay safe, and we'll see you at the next briefing. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Shit. Well, everybody, what do you guys think about all this? What do you guys think? Do you see an end to any of this shit, or do you just see it just nonstop going on and on until one of us eventually just nukes the other? You know, what's going to end up happening? Anyways, with that being said, everybody, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us this beautiful morning. Also, remember, so check it out. You know, hit that like button on the way out, but we're going to raid somebody. Now we're going to raid a lefty. Okay. I want you guys to go in there. Okay. I want you guys to go in there. Let them know that this is, you know, Mike Ball raid, whatever, Insane Wheels raid. And I want to hear what he's speaking about. I have no idea. He's always a lefty. And I want you guys to give him a hard time. That's what I really want. So anyways, with that being said, much love, honor, respect to everybody. Hopefully you guys all have an absolute blessed, wonderful Monday and start of your week. We will see you guys tomorrow morning for more of what is happening around the world and specifically in the Middle East. Much love to everybody. Stick around for the raid.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart steel and a spirit unbroken, he rides on two wheels ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar,